Okay, cool. James Maduke speaking, trainingsites.io, and today I've got an interesting video for you. If you're a course creator, you're maybe over 40 years old, little follically challenged like I am, you got a wealth of experience, you want to create some online educational material, you want to teach online, build some online courses, and you've heard about all this ChatGPT stuff and you're trying to figure out how can I actually use it. Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you I'm going to show you some simple phrases. Probably try and do 4 kind of key phrases that you can use with ChatGPT to do all of the research and basically get the results that you need when you are creating ebooks or online courses or checklists or reports or any of that how-to information that is important to you because you just like teaching online, you got a wealth of experience. So these are simple phrases that you can use, and they're really a guide that can help you out, especially when you don't know what you should really be saying. Like, what do I say to ChatGPT? How do I get started in a conversation? What are the important pieces? What should I do? What should I not do? What's the best prompt to use? And in fact, just to give you a background on how I started with this, is when I was first kind of figuring this stuff out about a year ago, I actually paid for some prompts, and they were specific prompts. And they weren't ones that, they didn't have any formula. It was kind of a list of hundreds of prompts, and you use the prompts to hopefully get a result that you wanted. And it was interesting to start off with because you basically looked at the prompts and maybe they didn't apply to what it was that you were doing. So you couldn't copy and paste a prompt. It was kind of difficult. And although I used those for a while and learned and played around, I didn't necessarily get the information that I need when I'm creating online courses or any kind of ebook or anything like that. And it was really pretty frustrating because I knew there was something more there, but I wasn't really sure, like, how do I get there? What are the things that I need to know about ChatGPT that are actually going to give me some course content that seems like me, that comes across like me, but I have all the research and information that I need to create great educational material for people. So it was pretty frustrating at the start. And I guess around 6 or 8 months ago, one of the things that I ran into was this kind of simple idea or a first framework about starting out with all of this kind of stuff. And that really changed everything only. And what that was is, let me see if I can get my video pencil working today. We'll start that up. And that was called the ACR formula. And the ACR formula is a framework or a way to make prompts that really helped you out trying to get the answers that you wanted. So before, we just had to copy prompts when I first started. After that, I found this framework, and it really helped me because I at least had a way to create prompts that got me closer to getting my course content and my how-to content. So if you're not familiar with this is not mine. This is something that I was taught, and the first one was action. So that was the first piece, is how do you get that action, or what is the action that you want ChatGPT to take? The other one was context. So what is this? You're asking for an action, but what is this all about? What's the context of the action? And this is kind of where you put stuff in like, I'm a course creator trying to figure out how to create a course or a course outline for teaching piano or cooking a recipe, but this is where you put the context in. So the action was, give me a syllabus or list out the steps. That was kind of the action. The context was what the situation that I was in. And then the last one was R, which was really about the response. And that's what I wanted as the output. So it was like, print out a list or give me a list of lessons that have this kind of information or broken down like this. So this was a really good format when I was starting out. It was like, okay, great, I get this now. I can figure out some prompts that work using this simple framework. And I ended up creating lists of hundreds of prompts that were kind of my own prompts. And the reason they were my own is because I had to figure out what is kind of the action that I wanted. The context I always knew. I could flesh out the context, make it a little more robust and get more specific about it. And that's something I covered actually in a number of other videos at trainingsites.io if you haven't seen those. And also there's the link for trainingsites.io there. But I have a whole bunch of additional videos here on YouTube that kind of go into all of these different styles of prompts and different kinds of prompts that are about creating that, you know, asking for an action, the context, and more importantly, like what is the response that you want. So for example, it's, creating a syllabus that has 7 lessons with 5 topics and quizzes. That was kind of what do I want outputted, right? And this is a really good place to start. And I think it's something we should all know and learn how to use. However, here's the thing that happens after you get doing that, and especially when you're starting out, is in many cases you don't really know what it is the actions that you want, that A part. What is it you need when you are doing your research for a course? You're creating the lessons for your course. You're outlining the chapters in an ebook. You're making a checklist. So how do you use ACR but have a kind of a way to use it that keeps some simple phrases put in place? And that's exactly what I'm showing you today, because I've got a simple little formula that I call gear. So let me just put this one down. We'll add it to my screen here and we'll try gear. So what gear is, and pardon my penmanship, that's GEAR is an acronym that's there. So that's that's the one that we're going to work with. And what that stands for is we're going to have guide, then we're going to have explore. Oh, that didn't go in the right place, so let's try that one again. So we're going to do this again. So we're going to do guide, explore. So we guide, explore. The next one is assume, and then review. So those are the 4 steps that we're going to use to help us with that action part, to give us some simple phrases to start with when we're talking to ChatGPT. Because remember, there's 4 different styles of prompting. The first one is conversational ones, and at the end of the day, that's what we're doing, right? You're having a chat with ChatGPT. You're talking to it, and you're having a discussion, a valued educational partner, someone who knows lots, that can give us their opinions, but you kind of want to know where you want the conversation to go. And that's the things that we're going to be doing this right now. And I put a whole bunch of phrases together for you, and they're actually here. Just I'll show you where they are here. They're actually at the trainingsites.io site, and I've broken them down so that you can see them, some different variations of them. But what we're going to do right now is I'll just go and give you a simple start that we're using with that. So when you think of a guide, what you're asking is, and what you're saying is, you're saying like, let me just write this one down, see if we can do it close enough. It's like, so the action is show me how to. So if you don't know what to say when you're thinking about or getting started creating a course or any content for that matter, it's a how-to stuff. You want to do your research, get the background, get all of the content that you need. You start with the G, which is guide me or show me how to. And if you just remember that phrase, show me how to, at the start, it's going to work perfectly. If you use show me how to, some variations of those ones just as examples would be help me with, explain how I can, what are the steps for, how do I start? So these are all things that are in the G, right? So we want to guide or have, at least I did, I wanted a guide on what are the pieces that I need to go over in my course? Like, what are the steps? What's the process? And that's the action that I used, or the phrase that I used, to kind of flush that out, right? And if you're using that guide me through part, and again, I'll use some examples of this later. That's just kind of the phrases I started with. The next one is I was working with this and I was going, okay, I got some ideas here. I want to clarify them, right? So I'm going to say, let's explore them. So you can use phrases of, so you get one of the responses there and you want to clarify and say, well, let's explore is the action for whatever result that you got in the previous step. So what if maybe you changed the context, for example, or asked for, or can we brainstorm, or give me ideas for, or show me options for, or let's think about. So this E is kind of clarifying and fine-tuning what it is you got in the first step. So again, these are action items that are start of that ACR formula. Now, you're probably going, okay, I got some ideas, I flushed it out, I'm happy with it. What do you want to do at that point? Well, what you want to do is you want to assume the role of an expert in your field to make sure that you're getting the best answer. And that one is act as if, or assume the role of, pretend you're a, think like a, be a. So what you're doing is you're giving it a specific role that you can then use to clarify or fine-tune the information that you're getting back from ChatGPT. And remember, you're taking notes. Like I take notes the whole time here. I've got pages and pages of notes as I'm building this stuff out, because it's important you're organizing all of the content that you're creating with ChatGPT. But remember, you want to make it your own. You have to check, at least I want to check and make sure that I have all of my experience with it. It's coming across as me, but I want to make sure I cover everything, and I want to make sure that I have a structured approach that I can use to teach what it is that I'm trying to teach. So ask for some help at the start. How do I, or what's the best way to, or guide me at the start? And I want to clarify it. Let's explore. What if we, to get some more feedback. And again, I'm taking notes, I'm checking stuff here. I'm asking for clarifications if I have a different opinion, or asking for another opinions. And then I have an idea and I'm saying, well, if I were an expert in, or if I was the best, or if I was a professional, how would you change this? What would you do? Respond like, give me the answers this person would. So this is fine-tuning my response, right? I'm getting a better idea. It's more clarified. I can ask it to, really get into the details and expand as if an expert would, over and above the skill and knowledge that I have that I'm applying to this particular material. So we've got G, we've got E, we've got A, assume the response. What's next? Well, the next thing we want to do is we want to make sure that we review or look over what it is that we have. So one of the things in review is I always ask can you improve? Or is there another way? Or check this out, or look over this, or give me feedback on. So this sort of series of actions, that thing of gear, really helps me make sure that the content that I'm getting is the content that I want. And more importantly, I don't have to figure out each of the steps for the action items. I know I'm just going to go through the gear steps, and this is all going to work out for me. So in practice, how does this actually work? What are the real steps that we're going to run into as we go to these? Okay, so there's some benefits to this as well. When you think about it, it's simple. You don't have to figure out what the action steps are in each particular part. So once you remember them, you don't really have to kind of do a whole bunch of work. Just remember the phrases to get started. It structures your thinking. So if you're building a course, You're building some online teaching material, how-to material. You now have some steps to follow other than figuring out what is the best prompt. And it's easy, it's versatile. You can use it on anything. Doesn't matter if it's an online course, doesn't matter, again, if it's an ebook, doesn't matter if it's a talk or a video that you're doing on YouTube or a video that you're creating for a video script for any of your course materials. You're going to get better responses from ChatGPT because you're able to refine them and personalize them based on your style if you follow these steps. And the big thing is it saves time. If you have kind of an additional number of steps to go with that action, context, response framework, you now have some steps that you can go through that saves a whole bunch of time trying to figure out what should be the best prompt that I use here. Okay, so how do I? Show me how to. Let's explore. What if we? Again, simple phrases are all available in the downloads below. You can look there, and I think I put the link there so you can go through them at the trainingsites.io. How can, for example, assume the role of an expert, and then how can we fix this? How can we simplify? Review. What would you change? So these are some simple ones that you can use and great ones. So let me just go through. I want to go over a couple examples here. Just here's how it would work. Normally you have action, context, response. That's normally how it works, right? So if you're going to use gear, what you're going to do is the action is going to be show me how to. That's the first action that you kind of use. Or guide me through. That's the first part that you want to do in that guide step. The next one is, I'll give you an example, example. So show me how to. The context is create a basic outline for a beginner's photography course, or how to give a speech, or how to create an ebook. So it's give me a guide for the context, how to. And these are simple ones. You could say, for example, I've got a 35-year, I've spent 30 years teaching piano, or creating, doing photography. I have a hobby of photography and I want to create a course on all I've learned over all of these years. And then what you want to do is, for example, you show me how to, this is what it's about, create a basic outline for a beginner's photography course. And then the response you want is, please provide a 5-point outline. Simple example. The next one is, after you get the response that comes from that, you're going to just say, well, what if we? And then what is the context? And you could say something like incorporated real-world examples, or gave case studies for each of these. And then you're going to ask for the response and say, list some additional topics, or how would that be different? So you're getting, again, a clarification, and you're letting people kind of expand or explore. You're letting ChatGPT explore and give you some different variations. Once you've got that, you're going to go and say, hey, okay, if you are an expert photographer, assuming the role of, and you were going to create a course for beginners using the topics and lessons we've talked about, and then the response is, create a full lesson script that I can use to create my video. But we've now got another kind of step, or another step that you can use when you want to make sure that you're putting this all together and you're getting the right content that you want. And after you've got it all put together, you're just going to say, is there a better way to do this? Let's review it. Can we make it more simple? In your opinion, what needs to be changed? A little bit of a review there. So these are all examples that you can think of. And at the end of the day, if you kind of put this together and you're thinking about it and you say, okay, how do I create an online course? What you need to do now is think about ACR, so action, context, response that you want, but also think about the gear. And how am I going to guide myself through? How are we going to expand on this? Assume the role to double check and review to get a better answer. You're going to have the prompts that you need without using prompts, but just using simple phrases at the start. So hope you enjoyed this video. This is James Maduke speaking. I do a whole bunch of these on a daily basis. These are just live. I try and put all the links and resources in below. If you have comments or questions or anything, put them in the comments. But more importantly, if you haven't already, go visit trainingsites.io, and you can actually go on the page there. You'll see that there's a whole bunch of links. You can book some time with me one-on-one if you want, just to talk about creating an online course, building out your education business, and really sharing what it is that you know, love, and do on a regular basis. So till tomorrow, take care, expect the best. We'll be back, and have fun.